from Best Trains. This is the third video in the O-Gauge layout series, and we're going to dedicate it exclusively to Miller Engineering advertising signs. And throughout this video we're going to show you how to set it up a couple of different ways and take some of the mystery out of how to set them up. So let's get started.
So we have a collection of Miller Engineering signs here. This is by no means all that they sell, but it's a sampling of what they do sell. Power pack, and this is a 4802. This will run 3 signs. This is a distribution board, and just to give you a quick idea, if you take the power pack and you plug it in here, this particular power pack says will power 3 signs. So that's one way to set it up. And if you have this piece here, which is a 4804, this piece here, it's a converter, and I will show you later in the video it hooked up. But if you hook this up to a transformer and into these terminals, you should be able to power 10 signs. So we'll see if that's true later on. So let's get this out of the way. So this one is a window sign, and it would go into a window in a department store or a hardware store. And it will run on 3 AA batteries, I'm sorry, AAA batteries. This one is just, there's a little switch here, and it's on and off. So we'll see what that does a little bit later. This is your accessory pack, and the reason why I got this is because I bought this structure, and what happened is I had this sign on the terminal back here, but I didn't know how to work it because it was just clipped off. So in this video I will replace that. I'm actually going to move it to another area, so it'll set up like that. And also Miller Engineering sells this little kit here, and it's a Billboard Support. So I will have this all hooked up and on this building in this video. So that's kind of nice. This is in addition to getting a sign. So while I'm talking about this, let's bring this over here. And this is a rather large sign, and actually this is hooked up. So let me turn the lights out so I can show you. Actually, let's get this out of the way. And this came with really detailed large Billboard Support, and it's kind of cool because it's got cross sections. If you can see in the video, it's looks like it's pretty heavy duty, so it should support the sign really well. So that was nice. So let me turn this on, and while I'm turning it on, it's pretty simple. You just put the sign right into the socket here with the dots matching. So let's turn this on. Get this out of the way. Turn it on. And let me turn this light out. And let me turn this down a little bit. There we go. Maybe focus in on that. So I noticed on the shell sign, it's just got an on and off. So this is what this one does. But let me get the other one out. that's pretty nice. Go back to this Goodyear one. Now I'm not 100% sure if the Goodyear one works, or is working rather, the way it's supposed to. And I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so the Goodyear doesn't light up, so I thought that was kind of odd. On the wings of lights up and the border, but the Goodyear itself doesn't light up, so I think this might have been damaged. But anyway, what I wanted to say, on this particular board, there's the on and off switch, which is right here, but then there's this other dial, you know, push button switch that changes the pattern. And so you just keep pushing it and you have all these different patterns of the light coming on and off. So, and I think this turns to control the speed, although I haven't had much luck adjusting that yet. That's like really fast and irritating. I don't know if that. Try slowing that down. That was just on. It's a little bit of and on the wings doesn't come on in that dial. The whole light blinking. So really neat effects for your layout. In addition to the trains running around, this this steps up the whole level of your layout of piquing people's interests. So let me go through the components here. Let me turn the lights back on. Okay, so turn this off. And again, there's on this particular one, there's a red line that matches the red dot when you put them together, and they suggest that you put them in sideways. So unfortunately, and I haven't been able to actually see this advertised for sale anywhere, so I don't know, maybe it's an older sign that they don't make anymore. So you have the circuit board with the switches, and again, the big shell one did not have the dial to get different patterns, but this one does, and you've got, you know, maybe about 12 inches of ribbon wire, and then you got the 3-volt battery, or the 3 batteries that provide the power. Now again, if you have a bunch of buildings with lights in them and billboards, you probably not, you want to get rid of the battery pack. And Miller Engineering has that all figured out with this distribution board and power supply. So I will, let's see, what am I going to do here? Well, before we get into that, let me set this aside. And I just want to show you what's other types are available. You have that one piece with the GE sign, and then you have this. This was their earlier stuff, and this is just an on and off switch with a circuit board and a very delicate sign that, let's see here, piece of paper here, and this is only one way, and it fits into these little sockets here. So I will hook that up and show you what that looks like. But again, this is paper thin, and it illuminates, and that's about all that does. But I mean, it's, you know, for a little sign outside a building, say like if this was a drugstore, you would at the end of your layout, facing in this direction, you would put that up something like that, and it adds a little life to your layout down a back alley or something. And this is a hotel motel sign. Got some stickers. Actually haven't even opened this up. So let's see what's inside it. These are stickers to put on your sign. And there's the sign there. So it comes with, looks like adhesive. You mount that inside your building. Be very delicate with this. Okay, so you get your battery pack again. You've got a switch on and off, and then you got that nice switch that gives you different patterns. So let me speed up the camera and get this hooked up. Okay, so let's turn it on. And so this lights up. It's one way, one side sign. But, and I believe when you order them it says left or right facing. So you can put these stickers on there and it lights up. So let's see if it does different patterns. See that or not? Turn up some of these lights. Okay, so that's one pattern. That's the whole sign blinking. So that's a nice pattern there. So it definitely, you know, catches your eye and draws your eye to the sign, just like a real sign would. Different pattern. Another sign for a garage. It's a little racy, but thought it was kind of cool for the maybe the era that you might be trying to portray on your layout in the 50s or so. So the converter, obviously the signs are wired for DC, so the converter makes sense that your transformer would be AC. So we'll hook that up. Hopefully I don't blow one up. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive. But yet if you had one or two of these on your layout, it really would just, like I said, take it to a different level as far as the interest. The components here, the sign, the ribbon wire, the component circuit board. So I cut off the battery pack. I'm sure I'm showing that. Cut off the battery pack. Put it into the distribution, and the distribution was plugged in with the power supply. So what you could do, I guess, you know, put your power supply and the distribution board close to the outlet, and then you're just going to have to run wires to your building with the sign. And I believe they suggest 18 gauge wire. So that's one way to set it up. And then the next way I will set it up will be with this converter. So let me stop the camera and then we'll get that all hooked up and I'll explain it. Okay, so now we have a different setup. We have a Lionel CW80 and it's just barely turned on. The difference of turning it on and off. So it doesn't even have to be all the way up. Want to mention the wires that they suggested, I'm sorry, was between 18 and 24 gauge. So you can get away with 24 gauge wire, which is actually the smaller of the two. So transformer hooked up to the white wires to the converter, and the converter right into the red and black terminals. There's a little tab here also that's coming off the terminal that you can actually solder the wire to that little tab, so you don't have to worry about them screwing on or coming undone. So again, from the distribution board right into the circuit board going to the sign. So I know there's a lot going on here, but it wasn't, like when I first started looking at these, it was a bit of a mystery. So this will be in your building, this will be under your layout, and also we're talking about that. If I could find them. The distribution board comes with screws and spacers. So, and there's 4 holes drilled in the side of the distribution board because it does have a couple of screws protruding from the bottom, and then all the solder contacts. So you want to kind of protect that. So I hope that helps solve a little bit of the mystery on how to hook these up. Let's see, one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, the converter. I guess if you had, a standalone, if you have a transformer, all you'd have to do is buy the sign and get the converter and cut off the battery pack, put the converter up to your transformer, hook the red and black wires to your sign, and you're all set to go. So I was just like, wow, do you really even need this piece at all, period? But rather than buying a distribution board and this power supply, if you just have one sign, you can go with the converter. I wanted to touch on the Goodyear sign and building. So it suggests super glue to put these sign structures, to attach it to the billboard, but super glue has that haze when it gets near clear plastic. Another thing is there's just no way around this other than if I was to put this flat across the roof. But this thing is protruding, the plug, so you need to be aware of that. I'll have to put some type of roof structure in front of that to kind of hide it. So let me get this off here. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, but there's that super glue film. So if you're going to glue these, maybe put tape in between so you don't get that super glue haze on there. I don't know if that's even going to show up, but anyway, there is a haze where the glue attached the 2 pieces together. So I don't know if that's got a glare there. So anyway, just an idea. If you're going to glue it, maybe some masking tape in between to avoid that situation from happening. So I took a rotary tool, cut a hole in the roof here, got the plug through. Have to patch that one up. On the inside, I did the sticky note curtain effect because the lights, there's just too many wires in there to leave it open. So I have to plug up, obviously, the front windows. So we have the light and the wires for the MTH light coming down here, and I zigzagged the wires back and forth and then put heat glue to keep it tight because I have a tendency to grab stuff, and I didn't want to rip the wires right out, so that's a good technique. I did the same thing with the Miller Engineering wires. That's for the sign. So the circuit board comes with a self-adhesive, like two-sided deal. So I attached that, and then I super glued it again. And again, I ran the Miller Engineering wires, zigzagged them, and then brought them up here and soldered them together. So I know there's a lot going on in here, but the important thing is the outside, not the inside. So that's the building and the Goodyear sign. So we got all our signs hooked up. They're all running off the distribution panel here, or distribution strip, and that is being powered off the wall plug. Now, that particular wall plug is rated for 3 signs, but obviously it's running 5 right now. And the other one that's rated for 10, I would suggest just to get that one. It's better to have more power than not enough. But the only problem with this plug is that it's rated for 3 signs, so if you add more, it may overheat, so you always want to take that into consideration. And then over here we have the 3-volt Rexall sign, and that turns on and off. And I didn't want to plug that in because the battery pack was 2 batteries, which is 3 volts, and all these are 4.5 because of the 3 battery situation. So I didn't want to
put that into the distribution board. So that'll conclude the Miller Engineering advertising signs. I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe. And then our next video is going to be on pine trees that we're going to be making. And there should be a lot of good information. They're inexpensive trees. You can make a lot of them for a little bit of money. So thanks again for watching. Please watch that video, and we'll see you again.